Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Dynamics Corner. Who is Claude? Is that your buddy? I'm your co-host, Kris.
And this is Brad. This episode was recorded on February 19th, 2026. Kris. Who is Claude? I actually have a prawny, and he calls me King Prawn. With us today, we had the opportunity to speak with another great member of the Business Central community, and we had the opportunity to talk about what else? AI development and AI in business. With us today, we had the opportunity to speak with Milan. Good afternoon. Good morning. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hey.
Good afternoon, guys. I'm good. I'm just run from another meeting to join this podcast with you guys.
Oh, that's good.
Now I'm ready. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Good.
Been looking forward to speaking with you. Hope you didn't have to run too far and too fast.
No, it was not. It was not too far. Just from different room to this one. So it was.
No.
I just had enough time to prepare a bit of water for me, and that's.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I have plenty over here. If you need some, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that would be.
No,
nice.
it's no. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. Been looking forward to speaking with you. And one thing I was thinking about this morning prior to speaking with you, it's really crazy how we are living now in 2026 compared to where we were in 2025. Because I realized today, it's like you think of development and coding. How much do you actually code today? And what I found myself doing this morning was I spent so much time prompting. I opened up Visual Studio Code because I wanted to type my prompt before I put it in to the chat session for the prompting. And I was having within Visual Studio Code, you know how when you're typing, Copilot will assist writing with you. It was helping me write my prompt. So now I'm actually having Copilot help me write my prompts.
So you're not developing, and then you're not prompting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like we're changing from something to help create the prompt. I used it to create agent files and whatever you want to call them, instruction files. But now to create the prompt, it's kind of crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't write a lot of code myself this year at all manually. So it's crazy times where in what we live now. Yeah, what to say? I'm thinking. I'm leading here the small team of developers. It is five of us, and I wanted that all of us just do fully agentic development, not manual one. So now we are working a lot with establishing all of the Claude Code rules and instructions and ideas, so that it can take it to create a good output. And it's amazing, the more we are doing it, it's more amazing. So
That's crazy.
It's so difficult to talk about, and I tell people I don't even talk with people about this anymore because I think everyone will think I'm crazy at the stuff that's happening. But I'm interested in hearing more about your AI development workflow with your team and setting it up to incorporate agentic coding into your workflow and what you're doing. But before you do that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, we jumped immediately to the topic. Once again, guys, first before I introduce myself a bit, thanks for inviting me. I'm really excited to talk with you today. My name is Milan Milincevic, and originally I come from Croatia, but last 2 years I live in Norway, where I'm leading a team of developers for BC. I also try to be very active in community, and so I was speaking at different sessions, creating some small open source projects. Previously, I was writing some blog posts. To be fair, in a late time, I stopped I'm becoming more and more lazy, but hopefully I will pick it again. Now you don't need to write anymore. You have AI to do that for you as well. You just need to have some ideas.
Yeah, so there's a lot of content out there. A lot of content.
Yeah, a lot of content. Yeah, and that's the thing. Even before AI, for me, what was challenge was to find a right topic, because the easiest thing was just to use something from Learn and then just do example and write for that. Was not adding any value for me, so I always try to find either some edge cases or to find something more interesting. So, and now it's too much, yeah, as you said, content. So I'm struggling to see whether there is actually some value in providing even more of that.
That is,
it is not easy to provide.
No, it is, and not. We'll get into the topic, but I think you're right. I mean, it's. I think there's two approaches. One, as you said, there's a lot of content, and you try to find the edge cases, the more challenging cases. But it's who sees the content and where they are in their journey, and it's. I understand the feeling. I wouldn't call it lazy. It's sort of hesitant because you want to add value and you don't want to spend the time to write something if there's already a lot of information out there. And then coming up with the edge cases is a little bit challenging as well too, because sometimes it's time consuming to put that information together. So it's I know exactly where you sit with that, and then add to the craziness of having to keep up with all of this technology, and it's a struggle.
I mean, it definitely is, but it is fun. It's fun to live in these times, and I'm just so eager to see what will come next, because it's so hard to predict.
Oh, it's changes by the day. You wake up one day, there's open claw. Next day, I saw last night, there's hermit claw, and there's like nano claw, and you see all these different things that are being created. It's a challenge, but I think we'll level out in a sense at one point. And I don't mean level out like technology will stop, but I think sort of the mode that people will be going into may sort of slow down and build upon the framework versus everybody sort of creating separate different frameworks. So you have a team of 5 that you're working with development on there, and you said you're working on the agentic development with them now. How do you even organize a group of people for that, right? I'm sure there's a team, you have different members of the team, different levels of experience. And then also the way this is, how do you manage that and bring that into play?
So to be fair, we are still doing piloting, testing the stuff. So now we are just starting to. It is few of us that started. Now we are just almost finished with the foundation. Now we have actually planned in the next week to have the workshop with others and to just put everyone to start using everyone from that moment, the full agentic development. So we will see how it will turn out. Now when we are working as individuals on projects, it works. It turned to be, I mean, amazing. I don't know what else to say. But what we wanted to do is before, my idea was that before just giving the Claude Code license to everyone and giving it, okay, here it is, just start using it. My idea was to build foundation and process and just to have the proper configuration and proper setup for the sub-agents and agents itself. So basically then they can just, that all of us can get the basically same output, I would say it like that. Then that we have standardized planning agent, that we have standardized one that will do development and review and testing, writing documentation. So and now I need to be honest, I'm quite amazed with the results that I'm seeing now. And then this is coming again to different discussion how we will build this work, because if we are shifting, should we shift from hourly rates to the either fixed price or some subscription? I saw that you had different podcast on that topic, and I think that this is one of the biggest questions right now in the community, how what to do, how to turn this instead of our based work to value based, or what the value is actually. So I don't know.
I wrote about that. I wrote about that news. I posted a newsletter not too long ago. I think it was this week. I had it released on Tuesday. I thought about if it takes you 10 hours to do work, typically it takes you 10 hours to do work, and you did it in 1 hour because you use AI and be efficient. If you're doing billable, like time and material, you are essentially giving yourself a 90% pay cut, like revenue pay cut. So you're being penalized for being so efficient and using the right tools to do the job.
There's a big discussion on how you can view that, because is it a 90% pay cut, or does the efficiency just bring down the value or the cost of it because you can produce more? I mean, that's a separate. We can jump to that to the tail end, but that's a whole other topic of you're looking at it from a pay cut, but harvesting, back when we're doing it manually versus using machine, is it still the same pay or the same value because you can do it faster? I mean, there's a big topic there. But jump back to the team. So you're setting up a standard set of agents, and we can jump towards the end of this. I just want to not lose focus on the agentic development topic. You have your team and you're setting up rules, basically, or instructions or agents. Like I said, I say this every episode, and everyone I talk with, I forget what to call them because it's skills, agents, tasks, instructions, whatever. So you're coming up with a standard set of agents to assist you with your development, and then you'll have those in a repository, in essence, right? And then anyone on your team will load up those agents and use those agents to produce output. But you had mentioned you have a coding agent, documentation agent, research agent, I'm assuming. I mean, these are the typical ones I see: coding, documentation, research, testing.
Yeah, exactly.
How are you coming up with those prompts? How are you creating those agent files?
To be fair, and I need to give a huge shout out to Jeremy here, because he created this MCP. I forgot the name of the repo. I think it is BC Code Intelligence or something like that.
Yes, it's BC Code Intelligence.
Yeah, and this is amazing. We just use that as our starting point, where we just, I would say, tweak that, change this, delete it. We just use that to get idea, use some things from there, some things from some other parts. Some things that we change to work for us, then we added some, then we see, okay, this Claude tends to overcomplicate sometimes, then we have some agent that will do that will simplify stuff. So I mean, it is just, but big thanks and big kudos to Jeremy for his solution. I think that this is a really nice one, and I saw that I didn't use it, but I saw that he created a VS Code extension as well for it. So I guess that my advice would be, if people or companies didn't start using agentic development, I would recommend them to at least try that one, and just to get some idea and just to see what they can get, and then of course then they can adjust it for their own needs. But from what often I'm seeing is that people still think that the AI is on the level of 2024 or maybe early 2025, I don't know, but it improved a lot. So, and you would be surprised, but at least here is a lot of still partners and individuals that are not using AI that much, and I think that they will need to adapt fast, I would say. And
I would say so myself. It's a challenge. So you have a repository with your team, and then you're using Jeremy's BC Code Intelligence MCP.
We are not using it itself, but we just used parts of it, or we just used some of the ideas, because let's say that we adjusted it, we changed it I would not say completely, but a lot. We just used a lot of his best practices and some ideas from it, and then we built, let's say, our own
Okay.
plugin.
So you started with his as the foundation, and then you
exactly.
added additional agents for him, or additional agents, and tweaked the agents to produce the output that you have. What do you think the learning curve is for that? For somebody who hasn't, let's say if someone hasn't started working with this and you had recommended that they take a look at that repository and they have some exposure to it, what do you think it would take for someone who hasn't started working with this to get to a point where they could use it?
I would say that they would need at least few weeks if they want to have something just for their, to have something tailored for their own needs, just to be. But if they just want to create something, I mean, they can, in a couple of days, they can get completely fine output. I mean, they can use just Claude Code out of the box and they will still be able to get something. So it is now it depends what they want as a result, what people want. But if they want to just start playing and using it, I think that the more they are playing, they will get more ideas, and it will be But what I wanted to say also, sorry, we are now jumped from topic to topic. With this, what was my finding is, it is still not that perfect. You know, you need to have a few iterations with it. So you need to understand what do you want as an output, and you need to understand how do you want to achieve that. And there is the catch. You will just have multiple iterations, and after those iterations, you will get quite good solution at the end. But the catch is in those iterations where you are trying to guide him guide it in a way. And for the challenge that I see here is, at least for now, is for those juniors. If you have some juniors that they are not completely sure what the output should be, I don't have an answer to that. How they will get up to speed with everything. But I guess this is the different topic, and we will see. I have a few juniors in the team, so we'll see how they will adapt. But at least from my point of view, it will be a bit harder maybe for them to produce good quality.
You think it would be more challenging because they don't understand the application, or understand and have some maturity with the language?
I would say both. Maybe more the application than the language itself, because then you can else getting quite. If you have a good set of these rules and stuff, it will produce quite clean code, and the language itself will be quite okay. But you need to understand, I would say, application itself as well.
The business itself, like the functional side, right? You have to have a good understanding. Yeah.
Exactly. And maybe the more now I got this idea, maybe the consultants will be new developers in the future, because they have this understanding of the functional side, and if you have good enough rules and everything, the quality of the code itself will be good. You need to check just whether output is right.
Yeah, that's a different twist, because it does seem with Business Central, it's already a predefined application. It's not something that is greenfield that somebody is just developing. So you do need to have an understanding of the application, and then also an understanding of the framework, technically, I believe, at this point, so that you can produce the output. So it's almost like back when we all first started many, many moons ago, where you did everything. You know, if you remember back in the early days of Navision, you didn't have a lot of talent, and everybody did something different. They did, I know when I started, I did functional consulting, I did development, I did project management, I did pre-sales, I did every role. So I think we all came from that, and it's almost like it's almost like history repeats itself. It's bringing it all back to, you'll have somebody who just needs to orchestrate all of those tasks.
You went through the struggle. I think, Milan, what you're saying is the junior ones have not really gone through that struggle. I think that's the challenge, is that because we're not in that space anymore where we did everything. Now they just go straight in, somehow develop, but then use AI to code, but they're not really, perhaps they're not coding. They're just not understanding the functional side of things or the business logic of things. That'd be it'd be really interesting. I think that's a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. But you know, I need to also say, guys, I'm not that old as you are, so when I started, I used some more mature versions of Navisions.
Thank you. No, I feel good now. No, I know.
That's how I influence people. Yeah, so invite me again.
No, it's okay. I forget how old I am sometimes, because all of this new stuff makes me feel young again, excited and enthused about it. So my body will tell you something different when I wake up in the morning, but I still feel like a good.
But to be fair, I was also, the more I started working more and more with it, I felt this enthusiasm, and I was so excited. I wasn't felt like for a while like that, and then I was just talking about that all the time, and my wife got sick of me because I was just talking about AI and agentic development and stuff. I mean, it's amazing, but yeah.
It is. It goes back with what I was saying. Is I stopped talking with people because I think they don't have either the enthusiasm, or they look at me like I'm crazy, because I was even trying to explain. I even took it at an old code base and said, do a code review, make suggestions, and put the suggestions into a file. And it comes out and it ranked. It wrote a summary of what the application did. I don't even know how, and it was correct. 2, it listed all of the things that it thought should be adjusted and ranked them in high, critical, high, medium, below priority. And it gave them numbers. And then, of course it says, oh, would you like me to fix it? And it's just like, from just a simple, literally all I said was, I was just practicing and experimenting, I guess you could say, with different prompting. And I wanted to go as simple as that, is do a code review and propose or suggest changes and save them into a markdown file. And I was blown away.
I have a quick question just for those that maybe perhaps, if we could take maybe just a few minutes, perhaps for people that may be interested in using Claude or AI for development for Business Central, especially for functional consultants, maybe they want to jump into that. When you are talking about Claude and having a conversation with it, can you explain to me how someone would do that to get started? Do they do that on VS Code, or they do it like a Chat GPT? Someone had asked me that the other day, so I would just for this podcast, I would like to know.
So there are different these solutions. You have Claude Code, you have Codex from GPT, and what we are using is Claude Code, and basically this one is CLI tool. So what we are doing is we are chatting with AI, but from terminal. So you have like terminal, and then you are chatting with it, you are getting the response there. You can use some commands different, and you are installing different like plugins and stuff. I am developer myself, for a long time, and I was not a big, fan. It's not that I'm not a big fan, but I didn't use so much terminal. You have these hardcore guys that just enjoy terminal. I was not one of those. But now using Claude Code in terminal just feels natural. I don't know how to explain it. It is just so easy to use it there. It just perfect makes sense there. So yeah, and then you are writing there, and the thing automatically creates the files, output like documentation, whatever you want. It even compiles, run tests, publish. So it is like that. So you need to have a VS Code, you need to have a license, and then you install it. You set up, you install some plugins or some third like party solutions that you would like to use to get better results.
Is there a reason why you chose Claude over using like GitHub Copilot within VS Code. I know that GitHub Copilot within VS Code does have access to some of the Anthropic models as well as some of the other models. And then Claude Code is a separate product, I guess you could say, or a separate subscription external, like you said. And I agree with you. Now going back to the command line interface, I almost feel like I'm one of those like hacker type people that you see on TV going, and I have multiple terminal windows open. It's just, it's like history repeats itself, because I remember way back in the day, again, long before you, when you used to type in MS-DOS, right? We used to use MS-DOS to do a lot of stuff. And now we're going back to that. It's kind of nostalgic and funny at the same time.
Yeah, it is. Just to answer the question about why we choose Claude Code. So before we use the GitHub Copilot, we had the license, so you get some the normal way to GitHub Copilot. And then one day I talked with a friend of mine like a couple of months ago, and he was so amazed with Claude Code. He just told me how he's using, what he set up, what he achieved with it, how he's so happy with it. And then I just give it a try, and I liked it, and then I said, okay, this is cool. We should start continue using that. So there was no actual I don't know, scientific reason why I chose it, even though I saw that a lot of people are happy, and then I saw that they are getting different results sometimes, and I see still that, I mean, both of the options are valid. It just, I guess, what do you want? How do you want to use it, maybe? And to be fair, I cannot say for certain, because I didn't use so much now latest time GitHub Copilot, but I think that you will get similar output at the end of the day. That there won't be so much differences.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong. But yeah.
No, it does seem to be a preference. I will say, from my experience, I use a lot of VS Code, GitHub Copilot, just because of, I guess, comfort in the structure, but I also do a lot of Claude Code. I haven't gone fully into using it yet, but it just feels like a different truck. I don't know how to explain it. It just seems to be a little more. Again, it just feels it. I can't even explain it. I can't even factually say. Again, saying I do about 50-50, right? So I can't even say that one gives better results than the others. I mean, the different models will give you different results, but it's all a matter of how you prompt it and the context that you have within your session that drives the output versus which framework, I think, in some cases.
I know, I agree completely. But also, it's so natural. It just understands. You don't even have to try too much to give him always so good prompts. It will just understand what you want. I don't know.
So for those that are listening, essentially, they could get started, probably read some documents on Claude.com is where you would start and install. I think it walks you through the installation process, whether you're in Mac or Windows.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Claude AI is the terminal, and then it will give you into the instructions if you want to install it. The command line install, whether you're using Linux, Mac, or PC, Windows PC. Then you can get into some of the other crazy things that people are creating. That's just unbelievable. It's so have you had any challenges as you've gone along this way with it, with adoption or with working with it? Any tips that you may say to somebody that's using it or hasn't used it? Excuse me.
No, this is a good question. I don't know what to answer on that one. I don't have much tips to others. I just have tips that they should start using. If not Claude Code and GitHub Copilot, they just should start thinking about agentic development itself, and then how they will set up things. It depends on their own needs, but I cannot remember that we had so much trouble with any or anything during the way. We built some PowerShell scripts, some simple scripts that we used, and then we figure out then it was easier for agent to tell him if he's in that situation, use PowerShell scripts to do that and that instead of he trying to figure it some things by himself. But beside that, I don't have much else to say.
Okay.
I don't know. Look, what is your, maybe you can teach me something. What is your, do you have something for me?
I'm the old guy. So, well, I don't even know if it's very difficult to articulate some of this. I would say, learn how to prompt it. It can help you come up with the prompts. If you want to start, you can have it take a look at a repository, and it could even come up with instruction files based on that repository if you want to come with it. Also, I'd say start small, stay focused, and then when you're working on something, come up with a good plan first. Like you said, I think it's knowing the output or knowing what your end result is, and then coming up with a plan to go through there. And instead of expecting it to say, create me an application that tracks, customers and their balances and then sends out invoices, and, instead of expecting it to do one big thing with one prompt, I say come up with a good plan and then iterate through those steps. And then keep track of it. And then I do reviews periodically as well, and I commit often. Claude Code, you can have it automatically commit. VS Code, you can have it commit, because I've had some instances where it's going really, 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 really well, and then all of a sudden it went completely out into a different universe. And the easiest way back, some people say, well, just tell it undo the last changes. Well, that doesn't always seem to work so well from my experience. Again, the models change so frequently. Like now I'm using Opus 4.6. I know Claude Sonnet 4.6 came out the other day, but Opus 4.6 came out last week at the time of this recording. And I haven't stopped using it since, because I found that is just amazing. But I would definitely say commit often so that you can roll back if needed because of that. And then even for an organization, I can come up with some more development tips, but I was going to say one big thing from an organization, which I'm even trying to talk with everybody about, is it's more than just coding. A lot of people hear about AI and they think it's just coding, but I've seen great documentation come out of it for modifications from a developer, far better than any documentation I've seen a developer write. And I challenge anyone for that. And anyone who's been coding knows that. But even from business processes, I've seen people create great swim lane diagrams, SVGs through Claude, because it can create some diagrams. I've seen many what I would call product requirements documents. You take your transcripts from your recordings from meetings with prospects or customers about things that they need. You can throw it into Claude, and it will create a great document for you. Also with that, I always throw into that, just be careful with the data that you put in there as well. If I do anything with data, I always sanitize it, to be honest with you. So I do any meetings or stuff like that, I actually go through and I'll do a replace and find for like names and such. And I'll do like person 1, person 2, just to make sure that everything stays safe. But and some, so I think you could take a look at it from an organization, from outside of just development, maybe some business process documents, some other types of automation that you can have and review in summary. And then from the development point of view, I think I covered some of those. I think you just have to practice and play with it. It's very hard to explain. But I think, again, the prompting, have Copilot help you come up with prompts, have Copilot help you come up with, I use the word Copilot, but it's just whatever you're using, which, whatever you're using, have it help you come up with some of those agent files as well, and those instruction files, and then you can go in and tweak them. Because that's where when I first started working, that's my biggest struggle, is everyone's talking about these cool things called agent files. And this was even before, because I did speak with Jeremy as he was doing the BC Code Intelligence. It was even before he did that, because it's like a blank piece of paper. They say you put in a title, you put in a description. Okay, well, what do I put? But now if you have the whichever model you're using or framework create the file for you, then you can see it, and then you can adjust it and tweak it. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
It's crazy, but I would say that you made one really good, important one that we also do, and which is the key point is that you need to commit often small things, and you should do it the much as possible, because then it is easier to just roll back if things go south.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And again, a commit doesn't mean that some people have a misunderstanding that a commit, like, oh, I'm committing, I'm saving it, it's done, it's final. No, a commit is just a checkpoint, right? It's not final until you merge it into the main branch, and then you create your artifacts for publication. I mean, it's just like anything you're doing. You can commit, you can save. But when you're dealing with multiple files, the undo isn't just a Control Z. The undo may require you to do quite a bit. So having the option to...
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I wanted to say something, but then I forgot. So
that's the story of my life. The story of my life. Hopefully it comes back to you. And you'll see.
Yeah. I wanted to ask. Sorry, did you try Cursor? Or because I used it for a while. I just play with it, and then it didn't feel so natural for me. Then I went back to VS Code. Maybe I didn't give it enough opportunity, but. I don't know. I know that some of the people are big fans of it.
I haven't used Cursor, and my first hesitation, to be honest, was because there was a charge. And then others were starting to use it, and I talked with them about using it, and they said, oh, Cursor. And I think it depends on where you were in time as well, because I think Cursor at one point was, it was a fork of Visual Studio Code. So they were adding features and functionality that made the development experience better. And I'm better in some opinions than Visual Studio Code. But then if you pay attention, if you wait a few minutes, those features showed up in Visual Studio Code, right? Do you see, like they were ahead of Visual Studio Code, then all of a sudden the features would come back. And now to me, it looks like the gap isn't so big or isn't so long. So if you wait long enough, and then I said to someone last night, I said, why do I want to learn another IDE? I know it's the same, but I'm trying to stay focused with it, do what I do well in Visual Studio Code, but then also now I'm starting to do a lot command line. So that's what I'm saying. So I have the little mix. I didn't see the value for me in moving forward, because I don't see it having anything better that I can say, oh, wow, this is worth me to move. I mean, someone else may have a different opinion, but in my opinion, I just stick with command line and VS Code. And we'll probably all be at VS Code. We'll probably all be command line again soon, back like when we first started. Now, this would be before your time. I heard somebody make a reference to it. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. And the VMS VAX. Do you know what a VMS VAX was?
No, I don't know. Now I need to Google.
Kris, do you know what a VAX was?
VMS VAX?
VMS VAX, yeah.
It sounds familiar, but I don't know exactly what it is. But I've heard
when I first started programming, I was learning assembly in Pascal, and we worked on a VMS VAX. A VMS VAX was...
so 1977. How old are you, man?
He's going to age himself in this podcast. You can't hide in your look now, Brad. You can't hide in your looks.
Listen, just because it was invented in 1977 doesn't mean I'm old, because the PC was invented in 1980? So you're still using PCs today. But no, when I was in school, we had a VMS VAX, and it was like a character. It was a CLI mainframe computer. So you had a terminal connected to a huge mainframe computer. It was green screen. Then you had the same thing with the printer. So we used to code on a VAX. And it was like a central mainframe computer. And it's almost like history's repeating itself, because now we're going back to, now we're doing, again, use Claude Code, command line, right? Where's the processing power? Right now, they use the processing power on your computer. But do you ever think that maybe now all this AI stuff, again, will just all be sent out to some place for that centralized processing? I know some, I'm not going to say what gets sent out from each of these models and not sent out. That's not the topic of discussion, but it's almost like we're going back to that point of like centralizing processing. Yeah. So you don't remember a VMS VAX then, huh?
No, I don't remember, but yeah, no, I see your analogy how, and I understand now. But yeah, I mean, this is I'm not sure. The more I into it, the more I'm. No, I will not say confused, but I'm not sure what to expect in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So the things are
Yeah,
like.
I think everyone's a lot in that space right now. Like, you want to do so much, and then it'll change next week. Something different or something cool, new
Yeah,
feature.
It's
yeah,
I'm at 2 days. You guys can be at 6 months, 3 years, 2 years. I'm at like what will change in 2 days.
I think at this point, it's like you're trying, for me, and I've shared this in the last episode, which hasn't been released as of this recording, being able to think about outside, even thinking about outside Business Central, and I shared it with the last episode where I wanted to create a website from scratch, hosted on Vercel, and it built something for me in a couple hours, 2 hours, and I'm done with that. What am I going to do next? What would like to do next? And so I start to think about things that I've been wanting to do from a personal perspective, a personal project versus just working on Business Central, and it removed that barrier for me because then I'm allowed to do other things that I don't necessarily know the code language itself, but I know what kind of result I want.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's that software. It's software. It's key for software. It's the philosophical discussion. The software become disposable, but it's outside of software that I'm really starting to. And I think it was because of, I don't want to say because of OpenClaw, but because maybe I was trying to think of other ways in my life it can help me with organizing and creating plans and putting things together for me outside of code, with documentation and such. I mean, coding is a great thing, but coding is such a small, I don't want to say a small portion. It's only one portion of a business that you need to take into consideration. I mean, data analysis, data consolidation, documentation, workflow analysis and stuff. You can do a lot of things with it.
Yeah, no, I agree definitely. We just had luck or unluck that we are the first in that are affected with this. But I just wanted to also ask Kris, did you start using AI in general more and more in because you're a functional guy, right? Did you start using it more in your daily work, and do you see that you are also getting more and more efficient? And because I think that this will just slightly start, or maybe it even started moving from, okay, developers will be much more efficient, and okay, there are a lot of questions there, how we will, what we'll do, and how we will just earn money, and what to do with the extra time. But I think that in order for us to be able to succeed, functional side consultants need to be able to scale as well with us. So you also need to be faster and to do things more efficiently, I would say, because or automate a lot of stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
the question is how it's going with you,
Yeah,
where you are currently with AI.
You're right. Like you use it, Brad kind of brought this up. You use it sort of beyond just development, and being able to streamline some of your processes, create templates for you, which usually takes you a lot of time. Documentation is a big problem in the past, right? So, you use a component of AI for those things. Even improving your email writing. English is not my first language, so trying to translate that to something that makes it easy for someone to understand, that certainly helped quite a bit. It's going to remove some of those barriers. In terms of like functional documents, you could have a template and have it built based upon maybe what a developer had built for you, and kind of translate that as well. So it really is making a lot of your day-to-day more efficient. Now, to answer the other part of your question is, what am I doing after that? You do more work. It goes to that, and I wrote about this too because I felt that when I was starting to use AI, is that because you're so efficient on other things, does it create more stress for you because now you have this extra time? That means you're expected to do more work because it's saving you 80% of time. Does that mean you have to do 80% more work than what you've already did? So you're kind of penalized, or does it give you more time for personal projects, right? So it really depends from that. So it kind of gets into that philosophical thing. But going back to your question, yeah, I mean, stuff like even creating files for you that you typically do not think about creating is making suggestions. So you get a full stack solution that you're providing to your clients. It's a wild world.
It is, and what to do with the time is, I think it'll all level out at some point. I mean, I think we'll have to go through a transition period for people to adopt it, because I think we're still in a world where our universe, and I'm talking about the three of us here, is a world where a lot of people are talking about and using AI because it's in our space. But I think there are others. I talked with someone, even another Business Central partner, and I was talking to them about some AI stuff, and they hadn't even used it yet. So I think we have. Yep. I think it's almost like you're exposed to what your surroundings are, right? So we're exposed with a bunch of people who are into this, but I still think there's a large portion of the population that doesn't understand what it is. And I think once that portion of the population starts adopting it, and I'm not just saying, and again, I'm not saying it's only related to Business Central. There's a lot of other technical people using it, but I'm saying of the 9 billion people on the planet, I think we're still a small fraction of a number of people using it. But once it gets widely adopted into other areas, that's when I think we'll have that transition of what do you do with your time?
Yeah, you made a good point there, Brad, about like what is, what other industries could utilize AI? Because you're right, we are in our universe. We use it on a daily basis now, but there's so many industries out there that haven't really touched it. Or where would it fit within their industry, or where would it fit within their space, right? So, and that's a big component. Like for example, teachers use AI to some degree, but they're still limited in books and things like that. But they could certainly use AI to build maybe a curriculum or a structure, what their day looks like, what the week looks like. And so that, I think there's so many different places that you can utilize AI for sure. I think medicine, they're slowly starting to pick that up. A lot of doctors are still kind of like apprehensive because it may get, may read it wrong or something like that. But again, there's so many different industries that can utilize it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and you guys said correctly, and I also often forget that we are in I would not say bubble, but often when you are discussing this, you are discussing this with similar people which have similar say not affiliation, but
well, they have similar interests, similar drive, similar exposure.
Interest. Yeah, I was meeting. Yeah, exactly. And then they're also so into it, and then you think everyone else is like that, but then it turns out that you don't need to go far. You can just find even BC partners, as you said, that are not using it correctly. So then you still see.
I want to go back to another. We were talking about the development before, not to jump back to it too much. In your experience with development with it, because BC has an individual framework, do you find yourself having it create more new or successful with new extensions or new features that are standalone versus extending the core Business Central functionality? And what I mean by that is maybe you want to create a new feature that's a standalone feature for tracking certificates. I'm just making this up, okay? Or maybe now let's not have a certificate management process. Let's say that Business Central has the existing sales order process, and now I need to add functionality to the sales order process. What's your experience with being able to extend Business Central? And when I say extend, with tables, code, events with code units, pages, and such.
So in my current role or company where we are working, we are basically partner which is implementing system to customers. So we are just checking their needs and then adjusting the system for them. So basically that means mostly extending the functionality or adding some features about that. In my previous role, I worked for some ISV in retail where we were just basically adding a lot of new features. Now it is I would say now we have a lot of currently I'm working mostly we have a lot of integrations. We are having a lot of extending of the functionality. Here and then we are adding a new feature function, new like functionalities from scratch, but this is not our main, I would say.
So AI has been successful in being able to pick up on the extensions. I was just curious about the ability to use Claude to extend the framework versus build from scratch.
Yeah. So I will give you one example now. Actually, I have a good example, but because I was doing this with, we are preparing this agentic development framework so others can use it. And what I was actually curious is I found a bunch of change orders from before that we implement to our customers, and I just wanted to now develop them with AI, with Claude Code, just to see how much faster I am actually. And then there was one, just the first one that I found, it was estimated was 24 hours, just it was something with deferrals, posting posting things differently with deferrals. And I was a bit, and to be fair, this 24 hours, developer who was working on it, he spent all of the hours and he was having some challenges with the right events to subscribe to get the correct solution, and that was fine. Customer was happy with the solution. And now, a couple of months after, when we have this agentic development, I was so lazy, I didn't want to use the whole change order. I just took up like few sentences from the change order, I pasted to our agent. It created some plan. I checked the plan. I didn't want to bother so much. I just said, okay, just continue developing the solution. In a couple of minutes, I got something. And then I saw the code looks kind of okay. I don't know. I just put it on Sandbox. I tested and I see, okay, it compiles. I mean, it's published there, but it is. It's not working. And then I come back and I said, this is not working. This GL account should this GL entry should have this GL account. You are not using it from the setup, blah, blah, blah. And I had like 2 or 3 iterations like that. In 4 iterations, I got like a really clean code, which is perfectly done solution, production ready. And I spent like 1 hour, maybe a bit more than 1 hour with completely tested.
See, it's amazing with that.
I mean, it's amazing, but it's crazy. But I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to have as output, and I knew that I had GL entries. I tested. I was posting sales orders, checking like whether these are entries correct there, and basically you need to know what do you want as an output. And then once you have this, it is like amazing.
There's another tip that I had from what you had said, and I do typically say this, and I say this to everyone, that don't quit after the first result. And you highlighted it perfectly there, that sometimes you have to reiterate as you go through the coding. Don't think that the first is going to be perfect, and if it's not, it's okay. Just go back and tweak it like you had mentioned. Another question. I have not done this, and I haven't asked anybody this before, and I haven't seen anybody talk about it. Have you had it write any reports?
No, that's a good one.
I really honestly haven't talked with anybody about it, and I'm going to start asking everybody because everyone's talking about code.
Are you talking about word layout?
Any reports, even RDLC, any reports,
Okay.
any reports.
So I can say something about that because I had this we have a backlog of ideas, and just for the next week, our idea is to start testing with word layouts, and I don't know what we'll get, but we have this in our backlog that we want to do. But friend of mine who was so amazed about this Claude Code, who I got this idea from in the start, they are still using a lot of RDLC, and RDLC is nothing else than XML at the end. So they built a small solution across of it. So they built a small page and setup where you can some generic solution where you can tweak how you want to use the report. And he said that it creates perfect RDLC reports because it is just XML and it knows the structure, it knows how to change the stuff. That the output of these RDLC are great. I didn't try it on those, and we are using just only Word layouts, and I just want to try it with Word. Word is also consists, I think, of XML and some other things, so I guess that it should be possible, but I don't. I can let you know.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know when you do that because I'm curious, and you'll probably see me start to ask everybody about that because I talk often about this stuff, but that is one topic that I haven't seen come up. So if anyone has worked with word layouts or RDLC layouts with reports, let me know. I'm curious to know the results.
Because I'm curious as well why this is on my backlog, because we have not a lot, but every customer wants to have some specific reports now, and they have a lot of these great ideas what they want to change. And I have a junior, I would say a bit more than junior developer spending a lot of time adjusting these layouts and stuff working there. So now I just want to see whether we can automate this a lot. So I'm also curious. So I'm also curious what other people will say when you ask them. But I hope that there will be a good probability that we will have a good result.
I hope so. Because that's an important part of it. So, no, well, sir, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. I could talk with you about this stuff for days. I know that it's getting late over there. For you.
Yeah, it's 5 p.m. So now almost I will finish. I need to answer some emails, answer some messages, and then I will start packing for a day. But I know for you guys, your day is just starting, so I guess it will be a busy day
for me.
It's always a busy day. Yeah, no, it's lunchtime for me, so I'm going to have to eat.
Okay, yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, I see. I mean, once again, thanks a lot for having me. I really enjoyed this conversation, and as you said, we could discuss this for much more time.
No, thank you again. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. Because again, anytime you spend with us, you're not spending doing something else, and you don't get the time back. I do appreciate it.
That's okay. I have agents doing the development.
See, that's what it is now. The agents you can before you come to talk with us, you can have your agents. Are you going to Directions North America?
No, unfortunately not. There is a bunch of conferences here in Europe in April and May, so I just decided to go to this.
Understood.
I think I hope I will be there at Summit. So
that'd be great to see you again. That would be excellent in Nashville. So hopefully we'll be able to see you in October if we don't get a chance to get over to Europe before then. But again, thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and look forward to talking with you again soon. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Take care. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Ciao, bye.
Thank you, Kris, for your time for another episode of In the Dynamics Corner Chair. And thank you to our guests for participating.
Thank you, Brad, for your time. It is a wonderful episode of Dynamics Corner Chair. I would also like to thank our guests for joining us. Thank you for all of our listeners tuning in as well. You can find Brad at developerlife.com. That is DVLPRLIFE.com. And you can interact with them via Twitter, DVLPRLIFE. You can also find me at matalino.io, MATALINO.io. And my Twitter handle is Matalino16. And you can see those links down below in their show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and take care.